Hello and welcome to a new guide for jungle pathings. In this guide, I'm going to be going over all the different jungle pathings that there are in Wild Rift, the pros and cons of each pathing, and which pathing you should take each game, because you should not be taking the exact same jungle pathing every single game. Even though you think that one path is dominant over the other, it really depends on who your teammates are and what the enemy team comp is. And I see so many players mess this up. Even in Diamond Elo, so many junglers mess their rotations up and lower their chances of winning. So I'm going to be telling you how you can improve your jungle pathing and also improve your win rate in the process. Alright, so now I'm going to be covering some of the basic jungle pathings and rotations that you should take. However, if you already know the basic rotations, then you can just skip this part of the guide and go to the next section, because that is the most important section of the guide. You're going to be learning which side to start on, and that is the most important thing in this guide, because so many people just start bot lane side because it gives a better leash. However, that's not the right way to do it. So just skip to that part if you already know the basic pathings. But if you don't and you just want to stick around, then here are the basic jungle pathings. The first jungle pathing that you want to be considering is red and then raptors and then your blue buff. So if you take this jungle pathing, then you're going to be contesting the scuttler on the blue buff side, and that is the basic jungle path. After this, you can go for an invade, or you can just go back to your own jungle, or you can try going all the way to the other side and going for that scuttler. The next pathing that you can be going for, starting at the red side, is going for your red buff, then going for Krugs, Raptors, blue buff, Wolves, and then Gromp. And this will do a full clear. If you're a jungler that likes doing full clears, then you can go for this pathing. I wouldn't recommend it if you're starting on the same side as the enemy jungler, and only do this if you know that the enemy is not going to be contesting the scuttler that you're going for. So if they are starting on the same side as you, you want to be either skipping Wolves or Gromp so that you have a chance to contest that Rift scuttler. The jungle pathing starting from the blue buff side is going for your blue buff, then Wolves, then red buff. After that, you can be clearing your Raptors and then go for the scuttler, or just go straight for the scuttler. Lastly, you can go for invades, especially if you're playing a jungler that has a good early game like Jarvan or Lee Sin or someone like that. Then you can go for invades on the other person's side of the map, and you have to make sure that they haven't warded it so you can use the plant. So a basic invade pathing would be starting at your red buff and then going to Raptors, then using the plant to check if there are any wards at the blue buff. If there aren't any, then you can go for an invade. If you think that the enemy is just going for a full clear, they're going red, Krugs, Raptors, blue, and they're going for a normal full clear like that, then you can punish them by invading. Alright, so now I'm going to be talking about which side should you start on. So I see a lot of people starting on different buffs for different reasons. The first reason I hear people starting on a certain buff, they just need that buff, or they think that it works better with their champion. And this is a legit reason to start at a certain buff. For example, if you are playing someone like a Mumu who has mana problems in the beginning of the game, then you do want to go for your blue buff first, because it'll give you a lot of mana regen. However, other champions like starting on their red because they don't even use mana at all. For example, like Lee Sin or Shyvana, they don't use mana at all, so they don't need their blue buff until later into the game. So they can start their jungle clear by starting on the red buff. The second reason why you can start on a certain side is because it gives you a better leash. And this is probably the worst reason. And a lot of people just like starting on their bot lane side because it gives them a better leash. And This is not a great reason to start on a certain side. The leash that you get in Wild Rift is really short and it's not a lot of damage. Unless you have an absolute beast level 1 bot lane, then you don't want to be going for a certain side just because of leash. And I'm going to be giving you the most important tip and the reason why you want to start a certain buff. And a lot of people don't know about this, and I just want to spread this information out with you guys. So the reason why you want to start at a certain side is to path towards the gankable lane. Okay, so you want to be pathing towards the lane that's going to be more viable. If your bot lane is Ezreal Seraphine against a Rakan and Jhin, then you know that your bot lane is going to be perma shoving their waves into the enemy tower, and you know that they're not going to be gankable. But if your top lane is someone like Singed versus Gragas, just for example, a melee versus melee matchup, then you know they're going to be constantly fighting because they need to go for last hits and get in range for last hits. So you want to be ganking that lane because it's going to be a more volatile matchup. So in this case, you'd be starting on your bot side because you want to go and path towards top. So I'm just going to give you a couple more examples of different team comps and which side you should start on and why. So my second question to you is, how would you start on this team comp? So the draft has gone like this. You have a Nasus top lane, a Kennen mid lane, and for your bot lane, this time you have a Draven and Leona. On the enemy side, they have a Fiora top lane, Ahri mid lane, and the enemy bot lane is Jinx and Soraka. Which lane would you gank in this situation? Alright, so if you answered that you want to gank bot lane, then that's going to be correct. This time it was a bit obvious because you have Draven and Leona, two champions that are extremely dominant in the laning phase. We all know how scary both of those champions can be once they get fed. Also, Leona has lots of CC that you can follow up on with your damage as a jungler. When you have a really nice support like that has lots of kill setups, then you want to be ganking the lane. And also Draven, you want to be getting him fed in the early game. If he gets fed, we all know how scary a fed Draven can be. So if you said gank bot lane, then you are correct. So you would be starting on top side. So if you were on the normal side of the map, you would be starting on your blue buff, going to your red, and then ganking that side of the map. If you were on the mirrored side of the map, you would be starting at your red buff, then going pathing towards bot lane. So I have another example for you guys to see if you guys really got this concept. But before that, I'm just going to make a quick announcement that I will be casting the Dragon Riders tournament tonight, and I'm going to be doing a skin giveaway on stream. So that's going to be really hype. The two teams facing off are L9 and AEX Retribution. Both teams proved themselves in the semifinals. There were some really cool matches, like L9's second match. They had a really nice backdoor with Yasuo when all of his teammates are dead, and that's what you're seeing on the screen right now. Basically, you don't want to miss out on it. It's going to be a really great tournament, and I'm going to be casting it and giving a skin away to one of you subscribers. So subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss out on that and you want to be entered into that giveaway. So come watch the tournament live. I promise you guys won't be disappointed in the games that they present you. And with that, let's go into the last example. So for our last example, we have Olaf as our jungler, and this time the enemy jungler is Shyvana. Our top lane is Darius versus Kennen. In the mid lane, we have Yasuo versus Fizz. And then the enemy's bot lane is just Jhin and Soraka. What should we be looking to do in this situation? And I'll give you a couple of seconds to think about it. If you said to go invade the enemy jungle, then you are absolutely correct. It was a little bit of a trick question because I didn't talk about this too much, but you want to be invading the enemy jungle, especially if your team is really great level 1. Even if you don't play jungle all the time, you can tell your team, yo, we win level 1 super hard and we should invade that way to capitalize on that level 1 advantage. Darius is really strong at level 1, so is Yasuo, and your bot lane also pretty strong at level 1. You want to be invading the enemy buff, you want to be invading enemy red. Shyvana and the rest of her team really suck at level 1, so if you did say invade, then that was the right answer and I commend you strongly. So with that, that will wrap up this video. I know I didn't go over too much into the jungle role. There is a lot of nuance to jungle pathings, and there are some pathings I didn't mention, like the ones that you want to be using when you hit level 5 fastest and things like that. I didn't go over everything that you need to know for jungle, but I hope this was helpful for you guys and helps you think about jungle in a little bit of a different way. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, remember to subscribe, remember to tune in to the live stream later today. And with that, I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye!